she advised us to be your dream self and live in the dream self every single day. That's Being It Till You See It. So now you know why we had Sarah Elise Bobo on.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Leslie Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the confident convo I had with Sarah Elise Bobo in her last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that one, you have missed out and you should listen to it, but you can listen to this one first and then listen to that one. You can do whatever order you want. And then if you listen to that one first and want to come back and join us here, because we've got lots of fun stuff to talk about. First, today is November 28th.
Oh, yeah.
That means it's Thanksgiving Day.
And
the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Do they still do it?
oh, they still do it. It's also the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
So America's Thanksgiving holiday, born in the 1500s, mythologized in 1621, and observed even during the bleakest hours of the Civil War, now stands as one of the nation's most anticipated and beloved days. Is it though? Is it? Celebrated each year.
It's definitely part of American society, like football and
Yeah, but like, guess what are people anticipating and beloved?
travel. I mean, it's the most traveled holiday in the United
I
States.
think
In the
people
country.
are crazy. They've bought into this Hallmark situation of family being together. But anyways, celebrated each year on the fourth Thursday in November. And this year it's on November 28th, which means it's freaking so close to Christmas. That means Christmas is less than a month away.
Every time, every year. babe.
Sometimes it's close. Sometimes it's not the 28th. Sometimes it's like
Yeah, that's true.
earlier. This feels late to me.
Yeah, it's the fourth Thursday of the month. But yeah,
So I
it's
feel
always
like it could happen sooner.
it can. Yes.
Okay.
Perhaps no other non-sectarian holiday has more tradition. Non-sectarian means non-religious. Friends, food, family, football have come to symbolize Thanksgiving, a rare celebratory holiday without an exchanged gift-giving component. Instead, the day urges all of us to be grateful for the things that we have.
Yeah.
And for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, this is a very American holiday. So thanks for listening and bearing with us here. Also, what is this Macy's Day Parade that we're talking about? It's one of the biggest and most anticipated events during this holiday. Everyone puts it on the TV. Everyone freezes their ass off in New York City. It's become a tradition among families to watch it.
I like to see if one of those balloons takes off. I really love.
You're in it for the fail?
Yes, but
Nice, nice.
I caution. I also want to say, like, no, I don't want anyone to hurt.
Okay,
I just
here's
like when
what's-
no one gets hurt and Snoopy just like goes off and becomes Godzilla.
Okay, so this is amazing to me. I grew up watching the Macy's Day Parade, and it's the first time that I was ever introduced to the concept of drag.
Oh,
As a child, somehow it was totally okay because it's part of the Macy's Day Parade. Everyone dresses up in these crazy costumes with sequins, and it's, they're heavy. They're heavy. And it's like this massive thing. And it's not like drag the way that we think of a drag show on a stage, but it's effectively drag as well. And it's the first time I ever really understood the idea of it.
what
Anyway,
an
it's-
interesting
I don't know.
story, babe.
I always found it very intriguing.
You know what America's really good at? Saying, don't ever do any of this unless it's a holiday, and then it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're so good at. Don't talk to strangers. Here is
don't
Halloween.
take candy from
now
strangers
go
unless it's out of their trunk on trunk and whatever they call it.
trick or trunking.
Trick or
And then
trunking. What the hell?
Also, we've been Halloween where these kids are coming up. We're talking to some random guy who lives next to the murder house. And I'm like, oh my God, people are trick or treating.
Yeah.
Anyways, he didn't
No.
tell us when the kids were around. But
All right. So
The
the
point
Macy's Day
being-
Parade started in 1924 and it became grown and grown and grown, but everyone builds these floats. So these floats are like different companies sponsor a float, and then the float, they push it down the middle of the street and everyone marches around it.
there's marching and there's
bands,
dancers.
there's trombones, there's
Often like Olympians
dancers.
are there.
Oh, yeah.
It's really
the mayor's
singers.
always riding a float.
You do have to practice the wave you're going to do, because if you do it too fast, you have to do it for too long. So it's got to be
What are we doing? We're practicing the Queen's wave. Is that what's happening?
Didn't she do a 1-2 elbow? Like
What?
There is, I don't know. There
You
is but one
like
where you
swimming?
pull. Well, because you're gonna get tired if you don't. You gotta pick the right wave.
I think I just do my fingers.
I would find an attachment arm and just have my own arm in a sling, and then there's a robot arm that's just waving.
The other thing I remember about the Macy's Day Parade is I remember how cold it was in Thanksgiving when I was growing up. And I just remember thinking, those people are out there wearing not enough clothes because some of the costumes are
Yeah,
not
but they're moving, so they're warm.
Yeah.
At any rate, however you think about this holiday, because I know if you live in the States, there's a lot of like, why are we celebrating this day? Probably, gave like all these diseases to the Indians. We probably stole from them. We did steal from them. All these things. It is a great day to be grateful. And I think we can change the definition of holidays to fit the life we want to live. We can. Really can. How do we celebrate Thanksgiving? By doing nothing. We participate in the Black Friday Cyber Monday sales as a business and then as a household. We take advantage of supporting small businesses and we shop small on Saturday. And that's what this holiday is all about. Well, that's how I see it. But I think you can change it up how you want to feel. And you don't have to have turkey on this day.
No, I used to have king crab.
Yeah. We also had a whole Thanksgiving. Why we don't cook anymore is because everyone made a bacon wrapped something. And we decided that maybe we should just order in. But at any rate, if you're listening to this on Thanksgiving, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah. We hope you have a good time with your family.
Yeah, we hope you are. Or if you're listening to this because you're trying to get away from them, hi, we see you. I see you. Real quick, if your family's driving you crazy, what better day than to buy yourself a trip to Cambodia with us and come on a retreat? Because then you can actually be going, oh my gosh, I can count down the days to Cambodia with Brad and Leslie. Go to crowsnestretreats.com to snag your spot for our retreat in February.
Crow's Nest Retreats.
Especially if it is cold where you are and you're like, oh my God, this is way too cold for me.
Yeah.
It won't be cold in Cambodia.
No.
I promise you.
Promise.
Even when it's cold to them, it's hot to us.
Yes.
So you will love the weather. I just got back from LA. Brad and I did the photo shoot for the accessories deck. It was super fun. It's a crazy, holy moly, did we bite off more than we could chew with this situation. But
couple of epic exercises in there.
Multiple locations for this photo shoot.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff Brad had to drive into LA is
I
insanity.
disassembled it and reassembled it.
Yeah. And shout out to our photographer, Jerry Camarillo.
Yep.
He is amazing and always somehow manages to put up with, can I fit in the frame? But can I though? All right. So go to opc.me/flashcard waitlist if you are wanting this deck. And by the way, you want this deck. You don't have to have equipment to make use of this deck. It's so great.
Yeah. Join me for, actually, this is the next year. You're adding yourself to the wait list for the next time I do the Profitable Pilates Accelerator. It's a studio growth accelerator. So if you're feeling stuck with your money on your business in any way, come join me. Leslie and I have coached more than 2,000 businesses. I mean, geez, at this point, we're getting close to like 2,500 businesses over the past 6 years. And we've got 3 main things that we've come to understand will completely change how you make your money. And I'm going to share those with you for free. So come join me. Go to prfit.biz/accelerator. That is profit without the o.biz/accelerator.
And then a week from today, we're on tour.
Let's do it. Let's see you in real life. Yeah. The 6th is the first event.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of December. Come see us while we're on the road. We can't wait to be driving near you. This time we're doing a path that we haven't done in the past. We're going along Route 40. We're going through Oklahoma City. First time we've ever done that. That's going to be amazing. We're going all the way up to Maine. Holy cow. We're going to go to Cape Cod. I mean, there's just a lot that we've never done before. It's really fun for us to get to explore, but also the best part about it is meeting you in real life. So come out, come join us wherever it is.
We'll have the boys with us.
Yeah.
They'll be so excited to see you. We'll have equipment with us. Shout out to our sponsor, Balanced Body. We'll have gift certificates from them to raffle off. You want those. So opc.me/tour to snag your spot. Literally, cities have every event is sold out. So you want to move fast.
Yeah, don't sit on this.
Yeah. Okay. Instead of an audience question, we actually just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. Some of you have been so wonderful at sending in your gratitude for how we've handled certain topics on this episode, how we've brought in different things, how some of the podcasts have helped you understand people in your life. And we just want to say that when you send those gratitudes in, it really does.
Means a lot.
Yeah. And so we just want to say thank you. And I know we say thank you after every episode, so I do understand that.
Yeah, but this is a little more reflective. I mean, the reality is,
this is episode
some people,
452.
some people have been listening for 3+ years.
Some people only started this year, but they literally started from episode 1 and caught up.
We also got an outpouring of love from y'all when Gaia passed away, and that meant a lot to us. We just are grateful that you are participating as well, in this experience, because otherwise it's Leslie and I love to talk to each other, but
we don't have to sit and record it.
we're doing this for a different reason. We're grateful to know that it has had an impact, and we hope that it continues to grow and continue to have an impact, inspiring people to be until they see it. So thank you.
And if it's your first episode and you got this far, thank you.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. Stick around real quick because we're going to jump into this awesome interview that Leslie had with Sarah Elise Bobo. That's 2 episodes in a row. Now we've had a 3-name person, Sarah Elise Bobo. She did say she also just goes by Sarah Elise, but she's a stress management coach, and we can't wait to dig into it. So stick around. All right. Now let's talk about Sarah Elise Bobo. Sarah is a stress management coach and founder of Live Well, Enhance You, a company focused on helping individuals and corporations manage stress. Originally a Pilates instructor, she expanded her expertise through health and wellness coaching with the Integrative Institute of Nutrition. Sarah teaches practical tools like breathwork, self-reflection, and mindset shifts to empower clients in reducing stress and improving overall well-being. That's kind of a mouthful, but basically she helps people de-stress.
Yeah, that's what she does. So we talked about, we have to make sure to become a habitual habit of a stress cycle. I think because our brains like to do certain things. And if you want to go back to episode 400, when Gay Hendricks talks about the ways that we upper limit ourselves, one of those things is worry. Worry is just stressing about something that's outside of your control. I mean, there are worries that are inside your control, but like when you're upper limiting, it's worry. And so what happens is we create cycles. Oh, this happened. And now I immediately go into this domino effect of this thing.
It's habitual.
And you can create your own, you can keep the stress going by like, oh, whenever you check your social media, it makes you stressed out. Or whenever you check your email on your day off, it makes you stressed out. But you do it because you created this habit. And we have to make sure we don't create that. And she did say that does gradually build over time. So it's possible that now you're aware of it. So don't shame yourself. Take Erica Nicole Malone's advice from last week.
Yeah.
Be kind to yourself. But we have to try to stop it before it becomes something that builds up into a cycle. And she also mentioned that it builds up in your body and then travels to your brain. So that I found very interesting.
So like physically, I thought it was the other way around. I thought that you had stress and then it like stored in your body.
Yeah. I don't know. This is her quote. So
okay.
I'm not the scientist and I didn't study stress, so I can't say that. But also it does make sense. It can start in the body and then go to the brain, and then it can become this cycle that goes from the brain into the body. Yes, you do store things, but I think as you store it in your body, it's probably because your brain told you to. Anyways, Sarah Lee says all the details on this. You can also listen to the episode. She also said it's important to reflect and identify the possible stress triggers. This is hard to do when you're stressed out, but if you can almost have an awareness like, oh my God, I'm in a stress cycle right now. And you can just take a second to pause the stressing that you're doing and go, what happened right before this? What was that? What was that prompt? And here's the thing, when you breaking in air quotes, unraveling habits that have to do with a little bit more psychology, brain, emotion is actually an advanced thing to do. So BJ Fogg, who's the author of Tiny Habits, when I studied with him, if you're like, I want to stop saying mean things to myself, great. That's a great goal to have. We all want you to do that. But to have the ability to catch yourself in the moment of saying something negative is extremely advanced. So you may need to have a partner in your life who's like, hey, pause. We're going to just take a moment. You seem to be really stressed out right now about this thing. Is it really about this thing? What prompted this? What started this? So that you can be able to figure out what that prompt is. Because maybe it's every time you talk to your mother-in-law. I never talk to my mother-in-law. So this is obvious. This is not a story for me, but I'm talking about for my friends. Then maybe you need to take BJ Fogg's advice, which is like, he had this client who had to talk to her ex-husband or soon ex-husband. And she just said, every time I have to have a call with him, I'm going to make my nails done, or I'm going to go buy that fancy coffee, or I'm going to do so that she wouldn't avoid the thing that was stressing her out. And then she wouldn't be stressed out from the thing because she did something that filled her up. So all this to say, I'm bringing in a couple different experts to help you reflect and identify the possible stress triggers so that you don't let it build up in your brain and your body so that it doesn't become a habitual cycle. There, brought it all back together.
That's a win.
Your turn.
That's a win. All right. So I really liked when she was talking about the spiral that you were just talking about, the negative thought patterns. She said you can squash all of those by changing your story. The reality is there's so much belief associated with our success. And this was like a triple woo to me a couple of years ago. And when I experienced it in my life, made me realize that it's just normal.
Wow. So they went from triple woo to just.
Yeah. I always was like, just show me how to do it. This is belief crap, whatever. But I've told this short story before, but I remember growing up playing soccer where they were like, you're looking down, you're watching your foot connect with the ball. You're trying to keep your knee over your foot as you hit the ball, and you are envisioning the ball going into net.
Yes. They say similar things with softball.
Yeah, but the envision of the ball going in the net part, that's like, somehow when I got older, I thought that was like triple woo.
Well, where your mind goes, energy flows. So that's
what they say.
Yeah.
So ultimately, there's a belief associated with, these are the actions I've taken. This is how I've set myself up for success. And then I'm going to believe that that ball is going into that net, right? And I love that because I forgot that along the way. And so Sarah Elise is reminding us, you can squash negative thought patterns by changing your story. And because the things that we tell ourselves are so repetitive that we don't even know that we're saying them as we say them.
We supposedly have 80,000 thoughts in a day or 60,000 thoughts in a day. And 75% of them are negative and the same.
Well, that's insane. Between 6 and 60,000 thoughts a day.
Between 6 thoughts and 60,000?
6,000 and 60,000. But I'll go with 60,000.
Let's go.
So the thing is, we tell ourselves these things of I'm not pretty. I can't do this. I'm not good enough for this. A story I used to tell myself when I worked in my company is I don't belong here. And the reason is because in my mind, I was like, I went to music school. These guys all went to business school. I don't belong here. Now, I never said that to them. But that's just what I told myself. I don't know why I told myself that. She said, hey, you can change this negative thought pattern when you change your story. She said, what is really holding you back from moving forward and doing the thing that you think that you can't do? What is it really that's holding you back? She emphasized the importance of shifting your mindset and opening yourself up to new opportunities. So I don't know that in the moment, it's really hard to catch yourself like you were just saying. But if you're thinking back and reflecting on how the day went and you're like, man, I didn't set myself up for a win there. Maybe reflecting back on that, taking some time to set aside and think about it. The next time you find yourself in that situation, maybe you can catch yourself partway.
Well, changing the story is there's years ago, I heard this woman speak and I'm forgetting her name, but she said, instead of saying I can't afford something, she says, I choose not to spend money on that right now because it puts her in the power position of she's not a victim of her situation. She is in charge of her situation, and that energy around that, there's less stress because it's not, I can't afford that right now. Another thing I can't afford. And you just go in the stress spiral. She's like, I'm choosing not to spend money on that right now. Yeah. Oh, not making that investment at this moment. And so it becomes this powerful, but you're making decisions from a powerful place. I wish I could remember her name. You guys, she spoke from a source that came in from the cloud. So to be honest, was a little weird, but I loved that.
All right. Well, we're going to be talking about some other kind of clouds with a sanctuary space.
By the way,
in just a minute.
Did you watch that reel I sent you about the blind guy making a basket? Oh, you did not. Gotcha.
Yeah. I don't do social media.
So I sent it to you and my dad and my brother. It's in the text. So this blind guy is walking by and these two guys who are playing basketball, they talk to him and he's like, oh, I've never shot a basketball. And he's blind, has a blind stick and everything, like blind. And they put a ball in his hand and they start talking through. And of course they were also demonstrating, which was funny because he's blind. But at any rate, they were talking through how to hold the ball, how to lift the ball. They're using his stick to hit the basket so he could hear it. They're taking him under, like, okay, this is where the basket is, stepping him back. Okay, this is where you're throwing from. And the first throw, nothing but net. And I was in tears. It was so good. And so
Wow.
that man had a belief he could do it. Just saying.
That is
That
incredible.
was just the eye. I'm just going back to your eye on the price thing. Okay.
Okay, stick around. We're going to talk about a sanctuary space in just a second. All right. Finally, let's talk about those Be It action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your combo with Sarah Elise Bobo? She said, set up a sanctuary space. I've experienced these in people's homes before, and I always thought they were a little strange. Got like a little altar going on. So I've always thought they were weird until we started to do them ourselves. Why would you set up a sanctuary space? What is a sanctuary space? It's just a place where you can sit down and change. It's like changing your environment, right? And you're putting yourself in a space that can bring you joy or relaxation or meditation or reflection. Maybe you want to remember someone who was alive and is not, or something like that. Or maybe you want to reflect on how we just celebrated Thanksgiving. Like maybe you want to think about how your life is amazing, and it puts you in this different place. We have a money corner in our house, right?
Yeah.
And so we set that up so that when we go in there, we remember to think about money, right? It's funny to say it that way.
I play sometimes I will play Abraham Hicks Money Rampage because it's just around 5 minutes long when I'm in the money corner and I'm like in the cold plunge trying to breathe through and I'm like,
that's a fun way to start
money
the day.
is coming into my place right here, right? It doesn't have to come right now, but it could.
I
can
love that.
feel money on its way.
I love that. So yeah, for sure.
Also, for those of you with small spaces or you've got kids, you're like, there's no way I could have a sanctuary space. It does not have to be big, and it doesn't even have to include a chair.
No, it could be your windowsill.
Yeah. We're going to have Mommy and Astrology hosts on at the end of this year, but they have an episode on their podcast called Mommy and Astrology about how to create an altar. And they literally talk about what kinds of things you'd put on an altar. An altar is another way of saying a sanctuary space. What are you wanting to call in? Things that can represent things that you want to call in. And it can be a windowsill. It can be just like when you're at your desk, it could be the wall that's right behind your computer.
Yeah.
So don't let,
It's a
space.
place where you can be present with yourself
Mhm.
and then set you up to conquer the rest of your day. So what was your biggest takeaway?
So she advised us to be your dream self and live in the dream self every single day. That's being it till you see it. So now you know why we had Sarah Elise Bobo on. But she said, if you want to be the CEO of Apply Studio, then you have to go live that dream life. And this is exactly what I had to think about years ago before this podcast ever existed. And I was going to open my own space. And I was like, open space. I've been a manager, but I've never been a studio owner, as if they were two different things. And I was like, hold on. What if I knew what I needed to do this? And how does my day change? And what things piss me off and what things take my time? And by changing before we even opened the studio, because we had like 4 months between when we decided to open the studio and opening the studio, I started to change what I responded to and how I responded to it because of, well, if I was a studio owner, I wouldn't actually have time to deal with this little shenanigan thing over here right now. So I'm just not going to deal with that because this is what I'm making time for. So I really, really love it. And then she said, you can figure this out by asking what is going to move the needle forward.
One small step.
Yeah, I love it. She was great. It was really fun. We packed a lot in here.
Yeah.
So I just really enjoy you, Sarah Elise Bobo. I hope to see you. She's in Florida. We should reach out.
Oh, cool.
So hopefully we'll see you on the tour. And you guys, I'm Leslie Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
One more time, thank you again for listening to our amazing podcast. We are in the top 1.5% because of you.
Yep.
And more on that in the December episodes we've already recorded. And, would mean a world to us for you to take your favorite Be It Pod episode and share it with a friend. That'd be so, so great. Let us know. Send in your questions. Send in your aha moments. Send us your FYF so we can celebrate you, so we can answer your questions. We can support you each and every day on your journey to be it till you see it. Have an amazing day.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network. If you want to leave us a message or a question that we might read on another episode, you can text us at +1 310 905-5534 or send a DM on Instagram at BeItPod.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Leslie Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is transcribed, produced, and edited by the Epic team at Diseño.co.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all of our content to our website. And finally, to Meredith Root for keeping us all on point and on time.